Breaking tonight, just in the past few minutes, CNN announcing that it is indefinitely suspending anchor Chris Cuomo over the revelations of what he did to support his brother, the former governor of New York, and going after media sources to find information about the governor's accusers in the sexual harassment allegations. Just happening in the past few minutes. Let's bring in our panel. Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio, Bill McGurn, columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and Katie Pavlich, news editor at townhall.com. Mara, it seemed like this was building throughout the day. Obviously, there were a lot of people saying something has to happen. CNN has done something as they investigate further.
Yep, as they investigate further. And look, he always was in a difficult position. His brother was the governor of New York. That makes it even more important to have really strong firewalls between a journalist Cuomo and an elected official Cuomo. And CNN is going to have to finish this investigation and decide what to do.
Katie, what he said publicly, Chris Cuomo, is not what was seen privately in those texts and emails.
Yeah, Brett, this is something that we knew months and months ago. Over the summer, it was obvious that Chris Cuomo was writing and approving statements for the governor's office that were then officially posted on the New York State's official government website. It wasn't a matter of just family dealings. It was a matter of Chris Cuomo being an advisor to his brother while also claiming to be a journalist. And now we're seeing this onion being peeled back even further, and that Chris Cuomo was going after his brother's accusers, which, according to the report that Letitia James put out, a lot of those accusations by those women were true. And so, Chris Cuomo was afforded a lot of privilege because his brother was the governor of New York, and now we're seeing, as a result of that, the opposite is now true, and it's boomeranging back on him, and there's now been some kind of accountability for behavior that's been going on for months and months.
Bill, CNN, in part, in their statement says, when Chris admitted to us that he had offered advice to his brother's staff, he broke our rules, and we acknowledged that publicly, but we also appreciated the unique position he was in and understood his need to put family first and jobs second. However, these documents point to a greater level of involvement in his brother's efforts than we previously knew. As a result, we have suspended Chris indefinitely pending further evaluation.
Yeah, look, I think CNN is right there. But look, let's be clear. CNN brought this on themselves. This is just karma coming back. CNN allowed Chris Cuomo, as a working journalist, to cover his brother, despite the manifest conflict of interest. Now we found out, as you pointed out, that some of Chris Cuomo's statements to the CNN audience about the extent of his involvement were misleading at best and lies at worst. So, I mean, they never should have been in this position in the first place. And what a come down from 2 years ago when, Governor Cuomo was being extolled and Chris Cuomo looked like the unbeatable host. I mean, there are some basics in journalism about conflicts of interest, and they just ran roughshod over them, and now they're paying the price. And it's not all Chris Cuomo. CNN, gave him the blessing to go on with his brother.
All right, I want to turn topics, and we'll obviously follow this story and where it goes and what happens with CNN and Chris Cuomo. But the Omicron variant is obviously dominating people's thinking, and so are these mandates and vaccine mandates. And just at the top of this show, a federal judge in the Western District of Louisiana ruled that the health care mandates for healthcare workers to get vaccines cannot be upheld. There needs to be a stop of that nationwide, and says a higher court is going to weigh in on this. Mar, this is significant in that these courts are making a stand saying that probably the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And the question is, in some cases, there are vaccine mandates. In other cases, there's a choice. You can get a vaccine or you can be tested weekly. That's a choice. So it depends on whether it relates to healthcare workers or employers who have more than 100 employees. But yes, it sounds like this is going to go all the way to the top.
Katie, Sarah tweeted in, as a school bus driver, our district is going ahead with requiring registration for the mandates. The deadline is January 3rd. I know that at least 4 drivers who will not comply. 4 is a small number compared to what we've heard from different law enforcement, fire, healthcare workers. It's a big issue.
Yeah, we've seen the consequences of this mandate play out in shortages of law enforcement, firefighters, as you said, teachers in some cases, and bus drivers and healthcare workers. And the shoot down of this vaccine mandate for healthcare workers across the country today comes on the heels of a ruling yesterday from a judge out of Missouri who argued that the mandate for Medicare and Medicaid workers or federal contractors working for Medicare and Medicaid had a number of problems with it. The first being that Congress didn't pass it. The second being that it was arbitrary and capricious. There's a number of reasons why they can't enforce it. And the third being that the risks and the consequences for a shortage of healthcare workers, especially in rural areas, was far worse than unvaccinated workers continuing to work inside of these government healthcare facilities or contracted jobs. And so when you look at the way the administration has handled this, they said 6 months ago that they didn't have a mandate to do this. They weren't going to implement any kind of vaccine mandate. Well, that has changed. You also had Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, saying that they did not have the power or the ability to institute mandates. The administration knew this was not constitutional. They knew that they couldn't do it. They tried to get OSHA to do it, which is now not implementing it at the federal the federal level now. And so we saw this coming. They used it for months to try and push their agenda, but court after court continues to say there are a number of problems with this vaccine mandate for the private sector and for the government.
All right. The administration surely is going to appeal this. It is going to go forward. What is the argument from the mandate side? Is it the public good? And is it legally tenable? Can you make that case in the court of law?
Well, it's certainly the public good, and it depends on which mandate you're talking about, what the legal basis for it is. I mean, the OSHA basis is very, very small. Look, I think Katie alluded to this. The problem, again, this is karma coming back. In 2020, Joe Biden politicized COVID. You know, he promised that he would be the guy that shut it down. He wouldn't use mandates. President Trump shouldn't be president because there had been 220,000 deaths. The travel ban was basically racist, aimed at black and brown people. Now he's reversed himself on all these things. There's 350,000 deaths. So he's paying a price for this. And the worst thing of all is that none of it seems to be working. I think the Biden administration is giving off vibes that it is just artless and inept, and that the president is in way over his head and doesn't know what to do. You know, it's one thing. In some senses, I think it almost doesn't matter what the courts say about the mandates. I believe that the White House just did this to look like they're doing something. You know, if it's overruled later, it's kind of a footnote by that time. The problem is none of what they're doing works.
Yeah. All right, Bill, the double barrel karma analysis. That's pretty good. All right. Thank you very much, panel. Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.